Between 1950 and 1970, American kitchens were refrigerator dessert factories where grandmothers created incredible no-bake sweets without ever turning on the oven during sweltering summer heat. These Depression-era techniques produced colorful gelatin creations, frozen fruit salads, and layered icebox cakes using just a few simple ingredients. Elaborate desserts like stained glass torts and cathedral window confections filled refrigerators at every summer gathering. By the 1980s, store-bought convenience desserts replaced these homemade traditions. These are 30 forgotten no-bake summer desserts Grandma made in the 1950s heat. Stained glass torte stood as the undisputed showpiece of church potluck dessert tables throughout the 1950s and early 1960s, commanding attention through its dramatic rainbow appearance that mimicked cathedral windows while requiring zero baking skills beyond patience and refrigerator access. This wasn't merely colored gelatin. It represented post-war American optimism combined with newfound leisure time that allowed homemakers to invest hours creating elaborate desserts that demonstrated artistic vision and household management prowess beyond simple casserole assembly. The recipe required 4 boxes of Jell-O in contrasting colors like strawberry, lime, orange, and grape, 1 envelope of unflavored Knox gelatin, evaporated milk or heavy cream, and sugar for sweetening the creamy base that suspended jewel-toned gelatin cubes. At roughly 10 cents per Jell-O box and 20 cents for evaporated milk cans in the 1950s, a grandmother could produce one spectacular tort serving 12 people for approximately 75 cents total, creating visual impact that rivaled expensive bakery cakes without corresponding expense or oven heat that would make summer kitchens unbearable. The preparation followed exacting multi-day technique. Prepare each Jell-O flavor separately in shallow pans Monday evening. Refrigerate overnight until firm. Cut into perfect half-inch cubes Tuesday morning. Then suspend the colorful cubes in sweetened cream gelatin mixture poured into ring molds before final overnight chilling. The cutting precision mattered enormously because uneven cubes created messy appearance, while uniform squares produced the characteristic stained glass window effect that made this dessert memorable and Instagram-worthy decades before social media existed. Cathedral window dessert emerged as the companion creation to stained glass torte throughout the late 1950s, sharing similar visual drama while employing different technique that created translucent windows of colored Jell-O suspended in milky white gelatin base rather than cream. This wasn't merely another Jell-O mold. It represented the peak of mid-century modern dessert architecture combined with homemakers' determination to create restaurant-quality presentations using supermarket ingredients available to every household regardless of economic status or culinary training. The recipe required 3 boxes of Jell-O in jewel tones like cherry, lime, and lemon, 1 box of lemon Jell-O for the white base, evaporated milk for opacity, and miniature marshmallows for added texture and visual interest. At roughly 10 cents per Jell-O box and 20 cents for evaporated milk in the 1950s, grandmothers produced cathedral window desserts, serving 10 people for approximately 60 cents total, making elaborate presentation accessible to working-class families hosting summer gatherings without air-conditioned dining rooms. The preparation followed careful timing. Prepare colored Jell-O flavors in separate pans. Chill until firm. Cut into cubes. Then fold gently into partially set lemon Jell-O, mixed with evaporated milk and marshmallows, before final molding and overnight refrigeration. The marshmallow addition distinguished this dessert from simple stained glass variations, creating soft, pillowy texture contrasting with firm Jell-O cubes that delighted children while satisfying adults seeking sophisticated summer refreshment. Lemon snow pudding, reigned as the elegant choice for ladies' luncheons and bridge club gatherings throughout the 1950s, offering light refreshment that wouldn't weigh down summer appetites dulled by humidity and heat waves that made heavy desserts unappealing. This wasn't merely lemon-flavored gelatin. It represented Victorian-era cooking techniques preserved through Depression-era resourcefulness, combined with 1950s convenience products that simplified elaborate preparations their grandmothers had labored over using fresh lemons and hand-whipped egg whites. The recipe required 1 box of lemon jello, boiling water, lemon juice for enhanced tartness, egg whites beaten to stiff peaks, and sugar for sweetening the airy foam that gave this dessert its characteristic snowy appearance. At roughly 10 cents for Jell-O boxes and 40 cents per dozen eggs in the 1950s, grandmothers produced lemon snow pudding, serving 6 people for approximately 25 cents total, creating impressive presentation through technique rather than expensive ingredients. The preparation followed precise method. Dissolve Jell-O in boiling water, add fresh lemon juice, chill until syrupy consistency, then fold in stiffly beaten egg whites, creating light foam that separated during chilling into 2 distinct layers, clear lemon jelly on bottom, snowy white foam on top. The folding technique required gentle hand because vigorous mixing deflated egg whites, while insufficient incorporation created separated layers, lacking the signature marbled appearance. The beauty of lemon snow pudding lay in its temperature tolerance. It remained stable for hours on summer buffet tables without melting or wilting. Spanish cream distinguished itself as the most sophisticated offering on summer dessert tables throughout the 1950s, combining custard-making skills with gelatin techniques that created mysterious 2-layer presentation confusing guests who couldn't determine whether they were eating pudding or Jell-O. This wasn't merely vanilla custard. It represented old-world elegance combined with scientific cooking knowledge that separated experienced homemakers from novices who couldn't master the temperamental egg-thickened base requiring constant stirring and precise temperature control to prevent curdling. The recipe required whole milk, egg yolks and whites separated, sugar, unflavored Knox gelatin, vanilla extract and pinch of salt, creating rich custard that set into delicate molded dessert worthy of formal dinner parties. At roughly 25 cents per quart of milk and 40 cents per dozen eggs in the 1950s, grandmothers produced Spanish cream, serving 8 people for approximately 50 cents total, stretching expensive dairy into elegant dessert through gelatin's magical setting properties. The preparation followed exacting technique. Heat milk with dissolved gelatin. Temper beaten egg yolks by adding hot milk gradually while stirring constantly. Cook until thickened without boiling, remove from heat, fold in stiffly beaten egg whites, add vanilla, pour into molds, refrigerate overnight. The egg white addition created mysterious separation during chilling. Heavier custard sank to bottom, while lighter meringue-like foam rose to top, creating two-toned presentation that looked deliberately crafted rather than accidentally separated, impressing dinner guests with apparent culinary expertise. Pineapple slice dominated summer potluck dessert tables throughout the 1950s and 1960s as the ultimate make-ahead convenience dessert, requiring minimal ingredients while producing impressive layered presentation that suggested hours of elaborate preparation rather than simple assembly. This wasn't merely pineapple on graham crackers. It represented the marriage of convenience ingredients with traditional icebox cake techniques combined with tropical fruit glamour that symbolized exotic vacation destinations most families couldn't afford during tight-budget post-war years. The recipe required graham crackers for crust, butter, and brown sugar for caramelization. The overnight chilling was essential. Fresh assembly produced crunchy crackers and separated layers, while proper refrigeration created cohesive dessert where graham crackers absorbed moisture, transforming into tender cake reminiscent of expensive bakery creations. These first 5 desserts reveal how summer heat shaped 1950s cooking. Grandmothers mastered gelatin chemistry, custard techniques, and refrigerator timing to create elaborate presentations without ovens. Stained glass tortes and Spanish creams weren't just desserts. They were edible proof of household competence, demonstrating culinary skill through patience, precision, and creative refrigerator management during pre-air conditioning summers. Pink Arctic Freeze revolutionized summer dessert tables during the late 1950s, as frozen desserts gained popularity alongside home freezer ownership that transformed food storage and entertaining possibilities for middle-class American families. This wasn't merely frozen fruit. It represented space-age modernity, combined with elegant pink presentation that appealed to feminine 1950s aesthetics, celebrating pastel colors, fluffy textures, and make-ahead convenience that freed hostesses from last-minute kitchen panic. The recipe required cream cheese for richness, whole berry cranberry sauce for tartness and pink color, crushed pineapple for tropical sweetness, miniature marshmallows for texture, and whipped cream for airiness, creating frozen mousse-like dessert that sliced beautifully into neat squares. At roughly 25 cents for cream cheese blocks, 35 cents for cranberry sauce cans, and 30 cents for pineapple in the 1950s, grandmothers produced Pink Arctic Freeze, serving 15 people for approximately 90 cents total, creating substantial dessert volume that fed crowds without expensive ingredients or oven heat. The preparation followed simple technique. Soften cream cheese to room temperature. Blend with cranberry sauce until smooth and uniformly pink. Fold in drained pineapple and marshmallows. Fold in whipped cream, gently maintaining volume. Spread in pan. Freeze overnight until firm enough for slicing. The freezing eliminated food safety concerns that plagued mayonnaise-based salads sitting on summer buffet tables, while the pink color created visual appeal that competed with elaborate gelatin molds requiring far more preparation time and technical skill. Refrigerator mint squares captivated dessert lovers throughout the late 1950s and early 1960s, when crème de menthe liqueur became fashionable ingredient, appearing in sophisticated recipes, published by women's magazines, targeting suburban homemakers seeking elegant, entertaining solutions. This wasn't merely chocolate and mint. It represented cocktail culture, translated into family-friendly desserts, combined with no-bake convenience that eliminated oven heat while producing impressive 3-layer presentation, rivaling expensive bakery confections. The recipe required chocolate wafer cookies for crust, butter for binding, powdered sugar and crème de menthe for the distinctive green middle layer, and melted chocolate chips for glossy topping, creating mint-chocolate combination that satisfied adult palates without childish sweetness. At roughly 30 cents for chocolate wafer boxes, 50 cents for crème de menthe bottles, and 40 cents for chocolate chips in the 1950s, grandmothers produced refrigerator mint squares, serving 24 people for approximately 85 cents total when crème de menthe bottles lasted through multiple batches. The preparation followed layering technique. Crush chocolate wafers and mix with melted butter. Press into pan bottom, cream butter with powdered sugar and crème de menthe until fluffy and pale green. Spread over crust. Refrigerate until firm. Melt chocolate chips and spread thin layer over mint filling. Chill until set. Cut into small squares because richness prevented large servings. The crème de menthe addition sparked controversy in temperance-minded households, though the alcohol content remained minimal, and cooking advocates argued the flavoring was essential for authentic mint taste, unavailable through peppermint extract alone. Tropical chiffon pie. transported summer dessert tables to exotic Hawaiian islands throughout the 1950s, when tiki culture, Elvis movies, and statehood celebrations made tropical themes fashionable for suburban entertaining that brought vacation glamour to backyard gatherings. This wasn't merely orange pie. It represented post-war wanderlust combined with chiffon techniques requiring beaten egg whites that created impossibly light texture, distinguishing elegant desserts from heavy Depression-era puddings and custards. The recipe required graham cracker crust, orange juice and zest for flavor, unflavored gelatin for setting, egg yolks and whites separated, sugar, and shredded coconut for tropical authenticity, creating airy filling that wobbled delicately when sliced. At roughly 20 cents for orange juice cans, 40 cents per dozen eggs, and 25 cents for coconut packages in the 1950s, grandmothers produced tropical chiffon pies serving 8 people for approximately 65 cents total, creating impressive presentation through technique rather than expensive ingredients. The preparation followed precise method. Dissolve gelatin in orange juice heated with sugar. Temper egg yolks by adding hot mixture gradually. Cool until syrupy. Fold in stiffly beaten egg whites and toasted coconut. Pile into graham crust. Refrigerate until set but not rubbery. The egg white folding required gentle hand because vigorous stirring deflated foam, destroying the characteristic chiffon lightness, while insufficient mixing created separated layers. The beauty of tropical chiffon pie lay in its temperature stability. Properly set gelatin maintained structure for hours on summer buffets. Heavenly hash descended from turn-of-the-century dessert traditions, but reached peak popularity during the 1950s, when convenience ingredients like canned fruit cocktail and Cool Whip transformed elaborate preparations into simple assembly projects manageable by novice cooks. This wasn't merely fruit and marshmallows. It represented democratic dessert making combined with religious naming conventions that connected church potluck culture with heavenly rewards awaiting faithful congregations enduring earthly hardships. The recipe required miniature marshmallows, fruit cocktail drained thoroughly, maraschino cherries for color, chopped pecans for crunch, whipped cream or Cool Whip for binding, and sour cream for tangy contrast preventing cloying sweetness. At roughly 25 cents for marshmallow bags, 30 cents for fruit cocktail cans, and 35 cents for pecans in the 1950s, grandmothers produced heavenly hash serving 12 people for approximately 70 cents total, creating substantial dessert volume through marshmallow expansion. The preparation followed straightforward technique. Combine marshmallows, drained fruit, chopped cherries, and pecans in large bowl. Fold in whipped cream and sour cream gently. Refrigerate overnight, allowing marshmallows to soften and absorb surrounding moisture, creating cohesive texture rather than separated components. The overnight chilling was essential because fresh assembly produced hard marshmallows and runny cream, while proper refrigeration created unified dessert where marshmallows achieved pillowy softness. The beauty of heavenly hash lay in its flexibility. Grandmothers substituted fresh fruit for canned varieties, eliminated nuts for allergy concerns, or added pineapple chunks without compromising the essential character. Jell-O Whip Parfait emerged as the ultimate Depression-era dessert technique that survived into 1950s prosperity because grandmothers remembered the magical transformation of evaporated milk into voluminous whipped topping, rivaling expensive heavy cream at fraction of the cost. This wasn't merely Jell-O with whipped cream, it represented kitchen chemistry knowledge combined with precise timing that created ethereal foam through proper chilling and beating technique passed from mothers to daughters through hands-on demonstration rather than written recipes. The recipe required 1 can of evaporated milk chilled overnight until icy cold, 1 box of Jell-O in any flavor, boiling water and sugar for sweetening, creating fluffy parfait that doubled gelatin's volume through air incorporation. At roughly 20 cents for evaporated milk cans and 10 cents for Jell-O boxes in the 1950s, grandmothers produced Jell-O whip parfaits, serving 6 people for approximately 30 cents total, creating impressive dessert from pantry staples without fresh dairy, requiring daily shopping trips. The preparation followed exacting technique. Dissolve Jell-O in boiling water. Chill until syrupy consistency. Whip ice-cold evaporated milk until stiff peaks formed. Fold partially set Jell-O into whipped milk gradually. Spoon into parfait glasses. Refrigerate until set, but still fluffy. The evaporated milk required overnight freezer chilling, because room temperature milk wouldn't whip regardless of beating time, while the Jell-O needed precise syrupy consistency. Too liquid prevented setting, while too firm created lumpy texture. The beauty of Jell-O whip parfait lay in its visual drama. The whipping process transformed ordinary canned milk into clouds of foam that impressed guests unfamiliar with the simple technique. Lemon bisque dominated elegant summer luncheon menus throughout the 1950s as the sophisticated choice for ladies' bridge clubs and garden party gatherings, where refreshing citrus flavors complemented delicate finger sandwiches without overwhelming refined palates. This wasn't merely lemon pudding. It represented French culinary terminology adopted by American homemakers seeking European sophistication, combined with Depression-era whipped evaporated milk techniques that created luxurious texture rivaling expensive Bavarian creams and French mousses, requiring fresh cream and professional pastry skills. The recipe required evaporated milk chilled until icy cold, lemon Jell-O for flavor and setting, boiling water, fresh lemon juice for enhanced tartness, sugar for sweetening, and vanilla wafer crumbs for delicate crust, creating layered dessert that showcased contrasting textures and temperatures. At roughly 20 cents for evaporated milk cans, 10 cents for Jell-O boxes, and 20 cents for vanilla wafers in the 1950s, grandmothers produced lemon bisque, serving 8 people for approximately 50 cents total, stretching expensive dairy through air incorporation while maintaining elegant presentation worthy of special occasions. The preparation followed precise technique, requiring chemistry understanding. Dissolve lemon Jell-O in boiling water. Add fresh lemon juice. Chill until syrupy consistency. Whip ice-cold evaporated milk until stiff peaks formed. Fold partially set Jell-O into whipped milk, gradually maintaining volume. Layer over vanilla wafer crust. Refrigerate overnight until set but still creamy. The evaporated milk whipping required overnight freezer chilling because room temperature milk refused to achieve volume regardless of beating time, while bowl and beaters needed chilling to maintain cold temperature throughout whipping process. The Jell-O consistency mattered enormously. Too liquid prevented proper setting, while too firm created lumpy texture, destroying the characteristic smooth bisque appearance. Rainbow parfait captured childlike wonder while satisfying adult appetites throughout the 1950s, when layered desserts served in clear glass vessels became essential entertaining tools, showcasing homemakers' patience and artistic vision through visible striped presentations. This wasn't merely layered Jell-O. It represented color theory application combined with precise timing that required preparing multiple gelatin flavors sequentially while managing refrigerator space and calculating setting times to achieve distinct layers rather than muddy blended colors. The recipe required 4 to 6 boxes of Jell-O in rainbow spectrum colors, including strawberry red, orange, lemon yellow, lime green, and grape purple, whipped cream or Cool Whip for white layers alternating with colored gelatin, and tall parfait glasses for dramatic presentation. At roughly 10 cents per Jell-O box and 40 cents for whipped topping in the 1950s, grandmothers produced 6 rainbow parfaits for approximately 80 cents total when using multiple colors, creating impressive individual servings that eliminated slicing and plating labor while guaranteeing portion control. The preparation followed marathon multi-day technique testing patience and planning skills. Prepare first Jell-O color, pour thin layer into glasses, refrigerate until set, add whipped cream layer, chill until firm. Repeat process with subsequent colors, allowing each layer to set completely, before adding next layer to prevent color bleeding. The layer thickness required precision because too thick layers created disproportionate parfait, while too thin layers disappeared visually. Each color needed complete setting before adding the next layer, meaning rainbow parfaits required 3 to 4 days of sequential preparation that separated dedicated homemakers from casual cooks lacking patience for elaborate projects. Frozen fruit salad blurred boundaries between salad and dessert throughout the 1950s, when sweet gelatin-based salads occupied ambiguous menu positions, appearing alongside both main courses and desserts, depending on regional traditions and family preferences. This wasn't merely frozen fruit. It represented Southern hospitality combined with make-ahead convenience that allowed grandmothers to prepare weeks in advance for holiday gatherings and summer reunions without last-minute kitchen stress or food safety concerns plaguing mayonnaise-based dishes. The recipe required cream cheese for richness, mayonnaise for binding and tang, fruit cocktail for variety, maraschino cherries for color, crushed pineapple for tropical sweetness, miniature marshmallows for texture, and whipped cream for airiness, creating frozen dessert that sliced into neat squares like ice cream cake. At roughly 25 cents for cream cheese blocks, 30 cents for fruit cocktail cans, and 25 cents for marshmallow bags in the 1950s, grandmothers produced frozen fruit salad serving 15 people for approximately 75 cents total, creating substantial volume-feeding extended family gatherings. The preparation followed simple technique, requiring strong arm muscles. Soften cream cheese to room temperature. Blend with mayonnaise until smooth. Fold in drained fruit cocktail and pineapple. Add chopped cherries and marshmallows. Fold in whipped cream, gently maintaining volume. Spread in loaf pans lined with wax paper. Freeze overnight until solid. The wax paper lining was essential for easy unmolding. Frozen desserts stuck permanently to pans without proper lining. The mayonnaise addition sparked controversy because it seemed inappropriate for sweet desserts, though Southern cooks insisted the tanginess balanced fruit sweetness while preventing icy crystallization that plagued pure cream bases. Charlotte Russe represented the pinnacle of 1950s refrigerator dessert elegance, tracing lineage through Victorian-era French pastry traditions that American grandmothers simplified using convenience products, while maintaining impressive presentation worthy of formal dinner parties. This wasn't merely custard and cookies. It represented culinary heritage combined with modern shortcuts that allowed working-class families to recreate aristocratic desserts their grandmothers had labored over, using complicated Bavarian cream recipes requiring copper bowls and professional pastry skills. The recipe required ladyfinger cookies for structural walls, vanilla custard made from packaged pudding mix or homemade egg custard, unflavored gelatin for setting, whipped cream for lightness, fresh berries or canned fruit for topping, and sugar for sweetening, creating molded dessert that unmolded into impressive domed presentation. At roughly 35 cents for ladyfinger packages, 20 cents for pudding boxes, and 30 cents for whipped cream in the 1950s, grandmothers produced Charlotte Russe, serving 10 people for approximately 75 cents total when using convenience pudding rather than scratch custard requiring expensive vanilla beans and fresh eggs. The preparation followed architectural technique, Line springform pan sides, with ladyfingers standing upright like fence posts. Prepare vanilla custard and allow partial cooling. Dissolve gelatin in hot water and blend into custard. Fold in whipped cream when custard reached syrupy consistency. Pour into ladyfinger-lined mold. Refrigerate overnight until set. Unmold carefully onto serving platter. Top with fresh berries or fruit preserves. The ladyfinger positioning required precision because gaps created leaking during filling, while overcrowding prevented proper custard distribution. The gelatin amount needed careful measurement because insufficient gelatin produced. Sawdust pie earned its unfortunate name through appearance rather than ingredients, becoming beloved throughout southern states during the 1950s, when no-bake pie variations offered escape from oven heat while satisfying insatiable American appetite for sweet desserts. This wasn't merely coconut and graham crackers. It represented resourceful naming combined with humble ingredient celebration that transformed ordinary pantry staples into rich pie, rivaling expensive pecan and chocolate silk varieties, requiring stove cooking and temperature precision. The recipe required graham cracker crumbs for sawdust texture, sweetened coconut flakes, chopped pecans, egg whites beaten to stiff peaks, sugar, and vanilla extract, creating filling that set without baking through egg white structure alone. At roughly 20 cents for graham crackers, 25 cents for coconut packages, and 35 cents for pecans in the 1950s, grandmothers produced sawdust pie serving 8 people for approximately 60 cents total when purchasing small pecan quantities rather than expensive pound bags. The preparation followed straightforward no-bake technique. Combine graham crumbs, coconut, and chopped pecans in large bowl, beat egg whites with sugar until stiff, glossy peaks formed, fold dry ingredients into meringue, gently maintaining volume. Spread into graham cracker crust. Refrigerate overnight, allowing egg whites to set mixture into sliceable consistency. The egg white beating required clean bowls completely free from grease because any fat prevented proper foam formation. The folding technique mattered enormously because vigorous stirring deflated meringue, destroying the binding structure, while insufficient mixing created separated layers. Room temperature eggs whipped more successfully than cold eggs straight from refrigerators. Peppermint Freeze delivered winter holiday flavors during summer heat waves throughout the 1950s, when home freezers became standard kitchen appliances, allowing frozen dessert preparation that previously required expensive ice cream makers or professional equipment. This wasn't merely peppermint ice cream. It represented year-round candy cane enjoyment combined with layered presentation techniques that showcased contrasting colors and textures impossible to achieve in traditional churned ice cream. The recipe required peppermint ice cream for base flavor, crushed chocolate wafer cookies for dark layers, whipped cream for lightness, crushed peppermint candy for texture and flavor enhancement, and chocolate sauce for drizzling, creating striped frozen dessert that sliced into neat squares revealing interior layers. At roughly 60 cents for peppermint ice cream cartons, 30 cents for chocolate wafers, and 25 cents for peppermint candy in the 1950s, grandmothers produced Peppermint Freeze, serving 12 people for approximately 90 cents total, creating make-ahead dessert that eliminated last-minute preparation stress. The preparation followed simple layering technique. Soften peppermint ice cream slightly, spread half in pan bottom, sprinkle crushed chocolate wafers over ice cream, spread whipped cream layer, add remaining ice cream, top with more cookie crumbs and crushed peppermint candy, freeze solid overnight. The ice cream softening required precision because too soft ice cream melted into soup, while too hard ice cream resisted spreading and tore underlying layers. The cookie layer needed crushed cookies rather than whole wafers, because large pieces prevented clean slicing. The beauty of peppermint freeze lay in its temperature stability. Mocha icebox cake satisfied coffee-loving adults throughout the 1950s, when sophisticated flavor combinations replaced childish chocolate-vanilla defaults that dominated earlier decades' dessert preferences and commercial ice cream selections. This wasn't merely chocolate cake. It represented European cafe culture, translated into American convenience cooking, combined with icebox cake techniques that transformed packaged cookies into elegant layered desserts, rivaling expensive torts from professional bakeries. The recipe required instant coffee powder for mocha flavor, chocolate pudding from boxes, or homemade ladyfinger cookies or chocolate wafers for structure, whipped cream for binding layers, and sugar for sweetening, creating striped dessert that sliced to reveal distinct cookie and cream layers. At roughly 25 cents for coffee jars, 20 cents for pudding boxes, and 35 cents for ladyfingers in the 1950s, grandmothers produced mocha icebox cakes serving 10 people for approximately 65 cents total when using convenience pudding rather than scratch custard, requiring stovetop cooking and constant stirring. The preparation followed overnight technique essential for proper texture. Dissolve instant coffee in prepared chocolate pudding, creating mocha flavor. Whip cream until stiff peaks formed. Fold coffee chocolate pudding into whipped cream. Layer cookies and mocha cream alternately in loaf pan. Apricot icebox cake showcased sophisticated fruit flavors throughout the 1950s, when apricots represented exotic luxury compared to common apples and everyday strawberries, dominating American fruit production and canned goods selections. This wasn't merely canned fruit dessert. It represented California agriculture, combined with gelatin techniques that transformed simple canned apricots into elegant molded presentations worthy of formal dinner parties and anniversary celebrations. The recipe required canned apricot halves with syrup, unflavored Knox gelatin for setting, sugar, lemon juice for tartness balancing apricot sweetness, ladyfinger cookies for structure, and whipped cream for topping, creating golden orange dessert that glowed beautifully when unmolded onto crystal serving platters. At roughly 30 cents for large apricot cans, 15 cents for gelatin envelopes, and 35 cents for ladyfingers in the 1950s, grandmothers produced apricot icebox cakes serving 8 people for approximately 70 cents total, creating impressive presentation through technique rather than expensive ingredients. The preparation followed blender-optional method. Puree canned apricots with syrup until smooth, heat portion of puree with dissolved gelatin. Combine with remaining puree and lemon juice. Cool until syrupy. Line springform pan with ladyfingers. Pour apricot mixture over cookies. Refrigerate overnight until set. Unmold carefully. Top with whipped cream. The apricot pureeing required achieving completely smooth consistency because chunks created uneven texture and prevented elegant slicing. The gelatin amount needed precision because insufficient gelatin produced collapsed cake, while excessive gelatin created rubbery bounce. Refrigerator cheesecake revolutionized American dessert making during the 1950s, when no-bake versions eliminated the intimidating water bath technique and precise oven temperatures that caused traditional cheesecakes to crack, sink, or develop grainy texture frustrating home bakers. This wasn't merely cream cheese dessert. It represented democratic dessert making combined with convenience culture that transformed elaborate New York delicatessen specialties requiring professional pastry skills into achievable home cooking projects manageable by novice cooks following simple directions. The recipe required cream cheese as foundation, sweetened condensed milk for sweetness and binding, fresh lemon juice for tang and setting, graham cracker crust, and vanilla extract, creating smooth cheesecake that set through acid-protein reaction rather than oven heat. At roughly 25 cents for cream cheese blocks, 30 cents for condensed milk cans, and 20 cents for graham crackers in the 1950s, grandmothers produced refrigerator cheesecakes serving 12 people for approximately 65 cents total. Knickerbocker Glory brought British ice cream parlor sophistication to American home dessert tables throughout the late 1950s, when layered parfait presentations became essential entertaining elements, showcasing homemakers' artistic vision through visible striped arrangements in tall, elegant glassware. This wasn't merely ice cream sundae. It represented international culinary exchange combined with theatrical presentation that transformed simple ingredients into restaurant-worthy desserts, rivaling expensive soda fountain creations from vanishing downtown ice cream parlors. The recipe required multiple ice cream flavors, preferably vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate, fresh or frozen berries, or fruit syrups or jams, whipped cream for topping, chopped nuts for crunch, and maraschino cherries for crowning glory, creating towering parfait that required long-handled spoons for proper consumption. Ribbon salad stood as the undisputed queen of church potluck buffet tables throughout the 1950s and early 1960s, earning its place through dramatic layered presentation that showcased homemakers' patience and planning skills, while requiring multiple days of sequential refrigeration, creating distinct colorful stripes impossible to achieve through hasty preparation. This wasn't merely layered jello. It represented architectural dessert engineering combined with color coordination that transformed simple boxed gelatin into edible art worthy of photography and admiring commentary from jealous neighbors who lacked the dedication to execute multi-day recipes requiring precise timing and refrigerator space management. Peach Bavarian cream emerged as the sophisticated cousin to common Jell-O molds throughout the 1950s, when European dessert terminology elevated American homemakers' status by suggesting culinary training and international recipe knowledge beyond basic casserole assembly and cookie baking skills. This wasn't merely peach-flavored gelatin. It represented French pastry traditions simplified through American convenience products combined with Bavarian cream techniques that created luxurious mousse-like texture rivaling expensive restaurant desserts without requiring professional equipment or advanced pastry skills. The recipe required peach-flavored Jell-O for base flavor and setting, canned peach slices or fresh peaches when in season, heavy whipping cream beaten to stiff peaks, sugar for sweetening, and optional almond extract enhancing peach flavor through complementary aromatics, creating sophisticated flavor profile. Chocolate velvet cream satisfied serious chocolate lovers throughout the late 1950s, when rich chocolate desserts moved beyond simple puddings into sophisticated mousse-like creations that showcased homemakers' ability to master temperamental chocolate and delicate foam techniques. This wasn't merely chocolate pudding. It represented Depression-era resourcefulness combined with luxury chocolate flavor that stretched expensive cocoa through gelatin and whipped cream volume, while maintaining intense chocolate taste, satisfying adult palates seeking sophisticated desserts beyond childish milk chocolate sweetness. The recipe required unsweetened cocoa powder for deep chocolate flavor, unflavored Knox gelatin for setting without cornstarch's cloudy appearance, sugar, vanilla extract, heavy cream whipped until stiff, and egg whites beaten to glossy peaks for maximum volume and lightness, creating ethereal texture. At roughly 35 cents for cocoa tins, 40 cents for heavy cream, and 40 cents per dozen eggs in the 1950s, grandmothers produced chocolate velvet cream serving 10 people for approximately 75 cents total when carefully measuring ingredients to prevent waste while achieving proper ratios, balancing richness with lightness. The preparation followed chemistry-based technique requiring temperature control. Snowball cake transported winter holidays to summer tables throughout the 1950s, when no-bake icebox cake variations allowed year-round enjoyment of festive desserts previously reserved for Christmas celebrations and cold weather gatherings. This wasn't merely coconut cake. It represented seasonal flexibility combined with convenience culture that transformed store-bought angel food cakes into impressive presentations through simple coating techniques requiring patience rather than advanced baking skills. The recipe required store-bought angel food cake for structure, crushed pineapple for moisture and tropical flavor, sweetened shredded coconut for snowball appearance, whipped cream or Cool Whip for binding, and powdered sugar for sweetening, creating white-coated dome resembling giant snowball incongruously served during summer heat waves. At roughly 50 cents for bakery angel food cakes, 30 cents for pineapple cans, and 25 cents for coconut packages in the 1950s, grandmothers produced snowball cakes serving 12 people for approximately 90 cents total, creating substantial dessert volume through store-bought cake foundation that eliminated hours of scratch baking labor. The preparation followed assembly technique. Tear angel food cake into bite-sized pieces, fold in drained crushed pineapple and portion of whipped cream, shape mixture into dome on serving platter, frost entire surface with remaining whipped cream, press shredded coconut over all surfaces, creating complete coating, refrigerate several hours, allowing flavors to meld and structure to firm. The pineapple draining was critical because excess moisture created soggy cake that collapsed rather than holding dome shape during assembly and serving. The coconut needed pressing firmly into whipped cream because light sprinkling resulted in coconut falling off during slicing and serving. The refrigeration time allowed angel food cake to absorb pineapple moisture, transforming from spongy texture into cohesive cake-like consistency. The beauty of snowball cake lay in its whimsical appearance that delighted children, while the pineapple-coconut combination satisfied adult palates seeking tropical flavors, and the make-ahead convenience eliminated last-minute dessert panic during summer entertaining when oven use seemed unbearable, and homemakers sought impressive presentations achievable. Lime chiffon squares delivered tart refreshment to summer dessert tables throughout the late 1950s and early 1960s, when citrus flavors beyond lemon gained popularity through improved commercial gelatin flavor options and growing American acceptance of bold tastes. This wasn't merely lime jello, it represented the chiffon technique application to bar cookies combined with graham cracker crust convenience that eliminated pie pan molding while creating portable squares suitable for picnics and potlucks, where whole pies presented serving challenges. The recipe required lime-flavored jello for tart flavor and green color, miniature marshmallows for texture and subtle sweetness, evaporated milk whipped to stiff peaks for volume, graham cracker crust for foundation, and optional green food coloring for enhanced color intensity matching 1950s preference for vivid hues. At roughly 10 cents for jello boxes, 20 cents for evaporated milk, 25 cents for marshmallow bags, and 20 cents for graham crackers in the 1950s, grandmothers produced lime chiffon squares, serving 16 people for approximately 60 cents total, creating economical dessert that fed crowds without expensive ingredients. The preparation followed whipping technique. Dissolve lime jello in boiling water, add marshmallows stirring until melted, chill until syrupy consistency, whip ice-cold evaporated milk until stiff peaks formed, fold partially set jello mixture into whipped milk, maintaining maximum volume, pour over graham crust, refrigerate until firm enough for cutting into squares. The evaporated milk required overnight freezer chilling because room temperature milk refused to whip, regardless of beating duration or speed. The Jell-O marshmallow mixture needed cooling to proper syrupy consistency because too hot mixture deflated whipped milk while too cold mixture created lumps. The beauty of lime chiffon squares lay in their vivid green color that created visual interest on dessert tables dominated by brown chocolate and white vanilla offerings, while the tart lime flavor provided palate-cleansing contrast to heavy barbecue meals and rich casseroles typical of summer gatherings. And the square format eliminated pie-slicing anxiety that plagued novice hostesses attempting to cut uniform wedges from round pies during buffet service, when guests watched critically judging portion sizes and presentation skills. These middle desserts reveal how 1950s grandmothers mastered gelatin chemistry, whipped evaporated milk techniques, and multi-day layering projects. Ribbon salads required week-long preparation, while Bavarian creams demanded precise timing. These weren't simple recipes, they were edible proof of household competence, patience, and dedication to elaborate presentations that transformed ordinary refrigerators into dessert laboratories producing restaurant-quality creations. Coffee jelly mystified American palates throughout the 1950s, despite its popularity in immigrant communities and international recipe collections that introduced exotic dessert concepts challenging conventional sweet-tooth expectations. This wasn't merely coffee-flavored gelatin. It represented Japanese and European dessert traditions adapted for American convenience cooking combined with adult sophistication that created desserts appealing to coffee lovers, while children avoided the bitter flavor they associated with grown-up beverages. The recipe required strong brewed coffee as flavor base, unflavored Knox gelatin for setting, sugar for sweetening balanced against coffee's natural bitterness, vanilla extract for aromatic depth, and heavy cream or sweetened condensed milk for serving alongside dark coffee cubes, creating visual contrast. At roughly 25 cents for coffee containers, 15 cents for gelatin envelopes, and 20 cents for condensed milk in the 1950s, grandmothers produced coffee jelly, serving 8 people for approximately 50 cents total when using economical everyday coffee rather than expensive gourmet blends unnecessary for gelatin desserts, where subtle flavor notes disappeared. The preparation followed straightforward technique. Brew strong coffee, using double the normal grounds-to-water ratio, creating intense flavor that survived gelatin dilution. Dissolve unflavored gelatin in hot coffee with sugar. Pour into shallow pan. Refrigerate until firm. Blueberry refrigerator torte showcased summer's berry bounty throughout the 1950s. When blueberry cultivation expanded beyond traditional Maine and Michigan growing regions into commercial production, making fresh and canned blueberries accessible to families nationwide. This wasn't merely blueberry pie filling. It represented no-bake cheesecake technique adaptation combined with seasonal fruit celebration that allowed homemakers to feature premium berries in elegant presentations without pie crust rolling and blind baking challenges that frustrated novice bakers. The recipe required cream cheese for rich foundation, graham cracker crust for structure, blueberry pie filling, or fresh berries cooked with cornstarch, sugar, lemon juice for brightness, and whipped cream for topping, creating layered torte that showcased blueberries' deep purple color against white cream cheese. At roughly 25 cents for cream cheese blocks, 45 cents for blueberry pie filling cans, or 60 cents for fresh berries when in season, and 20 cents for graham crackers in the 1950s, grandmothers produced blueberry refrigerator tortes, serving 12 people for approximately 80 cents total when using canned filling or slightly more for fresh berry versions requiring additional sugar and cornstarch. The preparation followed layering technique. Press graham cracker crust into springform pan. Beat softened cream cheese with sugar until fluffy and smooth. Spread over crust. Top with blueberry filling. Refrigerate minimum 4 hours until cream cheese layer set firm. Top with whipped cream before serving. The cream cheese softening was absolutely essential. Orange fluff bridged the ambiguous boundary between salad and dessert throughout the 1950s, when sweet gelatin-based salads occupied flexible menu positions, appearing alongside both main courses and dessert offerings, depending on regional customs and family preferences. This wasn't merely orange jello. It represented cottage cheese incorporation into sweet dishes, combined with whipped topping convenience that created fluffy texture, justifying the fluff designation, while orange flavor provided citrus brightness, cutting through rich cream cheese and sour cream heaviness. The recipe required orange-flavored jello for base flavor, cottage cheese for protein and texture, creating tiny curds throughout orange mixture, crushed pineapple for tropical enhancement, miniature marshmallows for pillowy softness, and Cool Whip for binding and volume, creating light consistency. At roughly 10 cents for Jell-O boxes, 30 cents for cottage cheese containers, 30 cents for pineapple cans, and 40 cents for Cool Whip in the 1950s when it became available, grandmothers produced orange fluff, serving 10 people for approximately 75 cents total, creating substantial volume through marshmallow and whipped topping expansion. The preparation followed no-cook technique. Mix dry orange Jell-O powder directly with cottage cheese, without dissolving in water. Fold in drained pineapple and marshmallows. Fold in Cool Whip gently. Refrigerate several hours, allowing flavors to meld, and Jell-O powder to dissolve through moisture absorption from cottage cheese and pineapple, creating cohesive mixture rather than separated components. Strawberry Delight dominated church potluck dessert tables throughout the late 1950s and 1960s, when layered Delight desserts became essential covered dish contributions that showcased homemakers' ability to combine convenience products into impressive presentations requiring minimal cooking skills. This wasn't merely strawberry pie filling. It represented the democratic dessert movement combined with cream cheese and whipped topping convenience that eliminated traditional pastry skills while maintaining elegant appearance worthy of special occasions and holiday gatherings. The recipe required strawberry-flavored Jell-O for base layer and bright color, cream cheese for rich middle layer, sour cream for tangy contrast preventing cloying sweetness, graham cracker crust for foundation, strawberry pie filling or fresh strawberries for topping, and Cool Whip for final crowning layer creating 4 to 5 distinct strata. At roughly 10 cents for Jell-O boxes, 25 cents for cream cheese, 30 cents for sour cream, and 45 cents for strawberry filling in the 1950s, grandmothers produced Strawberry Delight, serving 15 people for approximately 85 cents total, creating substantial dessert volume, feeding extended family gatherings, and church suppers where crowd-pleasing contributions earned social status and recipe request cards. The preparation followed sequential layering. Lemon Velvet concluded summer dessert repertoires throughout the 1950s as the ultimate finale, demonstrating mastery of whipped evaporated milk techniques that transformed economical canned dairy into luxurious mousse-like creations rivaling expensive French desserts. This wasn't merely lemon pudding, it represented Depression-era kitchen chemistry knowledge preserved through generational recipe transmission, combined with precise timing that separated successful ethereal velvet from deflated failures collapsing into soupy disappointment. The recipe required evaporated milk, chilled until ice crystals formed around can edges, fresh lemon juice. These 30 forgotten no-bake summer desserts represent more than recipes. They document American ingenuity, written in gelatin molds, whipped evaporated milk, and layered icebox cakes. Between 1950 and 1970, grandmothers transformed sweltering kitchens into refrigerator dessert laboratories, creating elaborate presentations without ever turning on ovens during brutal summer heat waves. Stained glass tortes, cathedral window desserts, and multi-day ribbon salads